My friends, 40 days after Jesus' birth, the Holy Family set out on their first trip since Mary's ordeal at Christmas. Although the distance from Bethlehem to the temple in Jerusalem was a scant 5 miles, it was up hills and down valleys, and the family may well have walked the entire way. The purpose of the trip can be found in the book of Leviticus, where the law required that every mother of a male child be ritually purified 40 days after giving birth, and that a sacrifice be made to God. It was an ordinary thing to do, one which thousands of mothers had done before. But this day turned out to be extraordinary, with dramatic events which may have left Mary and Joseph puzzled, if not shaken. Turtle doves and pigeons, 2 of each. That is what the law required. Mary and Joseph were devout. They were God-fearing people. They performed the necessary sacrifices. This incident in the life of Jesus points to the fact that Christ came not to overthrow the law or to break it, but to fulfill it. He came in order to keep all the commands of God perfectly, including the rituals of the Old Testament. He was born under the law, so he came to redeem those who were under the law. In the same way, he also came to conquer sin and death. He conquered sin by becoming sin for us. He conquered death by dying for us. Toward the end of his life, Jesus summed up the law by saying, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." You see, love is the fulfillment of the law. Turtle doves and pigeons, they form part of God's eternal blueprint. In the temple, Jesus was met by 2 patriarchal figures, Simeon and Anna. Both represented the centuries-old tradition of the Jews. They knew that God promised deliverance to his people. They knew that God had great things in store for those who loved and worshiped him. As Simeon cradled the 6-week-old baby, he knew. History was to be focused on this little baby. In this homey account of turtle doves and pigeons, there lies a profound understanding of world history. It tells us that there is a mind and direction behind the course of the universe. More importantly, there is a direction and goal for each of us as individuals. Just as God directed the events of Israel for centuries, so he has directed life and your life and my life for centuries. It was the direction of God himself that day on that presentation. Turtle doves and pigeons, flapping around dirty cages and finally being thrown on a waste heap. What does that have to do with God's eternal design? And what has a 6-week-old baby have to do with the universe and the history of the world? Both are reminders that God works through humble and simple ways. God still works miracles, but through very ordinary, commonplace people and events. Turtle doves and pigeons point to the coming sacrifice. Simeon predicts that Mary would experience sorrow. Salvation would come, but at a price. Simeon, the layman, and Anna, the laywoman, were the first to recognize in Jesus the Messiah, though they were surrounded by the temple clergy who remained ignorant of its significance. And today, for all who receive him, he brings salvation from present maladies and the sure hope of an eternal future with him and all who trust. God has designed amazing things for us out of commonplace events. A young mother and her husband, carrying a little baby, went to the temple. There they met 2 senior citizens who were the first to recognize the Messiah. they sacrificed 2 turtle doves and 2 pigeons. Thanks be to God.